Reid Tracy, President and CEO of Hay House Publishing. Thank you for taking the time out today from your busy schedule to sit down with Best Self magazine and invite us to the headquarters. I was so excited when we first arrived to see that this is like the Holy Grail. We are in Louise Hay's office.
Louise's office.
Yeah, Louise's office, which is pretty awesome. So my accessory of choice today, I was thinking about prepping for this interview. 2 years ago, almost to the day, I attended a Hay House Writers Workshop in New York City. And I have to tell you, I did not like what you were saying.
I'm sure you did. Most people do.
Exactly. I thought that I would get to show up and hand you a book proposal and you would just make magical things happen. And but in fact, actually what happened that day was you really activated something in me. And while I went home and hadn't anticipated this response, this truly is this is the seeds that Best Self was born of. And so you did in fact create magical things for me.
Good.
Yes. Most people know that your resume reads CEO, president, the largest and most influential self-empowerment publishing company. But I also think it should read mentor and visionary and the wind beneath Louise Hay's wings. So thank you for that. So I think it's a great place for us to start, because what I'd love for you to do is to take us back 27 years and to share how you activated, you were an accountant, you were a young man. How did you activate that out of the box thinking?
Right. Well, I didn't activate it. I just did what came along. Like Louise says in her book, like she just opened the mail and answered the phones. And I think that's what I did too, is just worked on what was in front of us at the time. So at that time we had like 3 books and 5 tapes or some number like that. And Hay House was a much smaller company. And at that time I did everything. So, it was a different time, a different place for Hay House. So it was a different thing. And then as we went along, we came up with new ideas and different things that we tried that other people weren't trying. And mainly that came from not knowing anything about book publishing. So no one at Hay House really knew anything about book publishing.
Right.
So Louise went on Oprah and Donahue in the same week and became a New York Times best-selling author.
And also tell everybody how old she was.
She was 6. Well, when she started Hay House, she was 60 years old. Which
is such an incredible inspiration.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like don't give us your excuses that you're too old, right? I mean, it's never too late.
Yeah.
Which is.
And so now she's 88 and she has a big successful company. But we didn't know any of this at the beginning, and none of us sat down and said, we're going to make the biggest publishing company in the world for this kind of stuff. We just helped the people as they came along. Like Louise used to send every single person that wrote to her, she gave a reply to. But it took a long time from that best-selling book to the next best-selling book. It was 11 years in between.
Right.
But
still, I want everyone to understand that you started as an accountant.
Yeah.
Working down the hall from Louise Hay.
Yeah. And
you took this leap and you accepted a job. Was it just a job? I mean, did you have a contingency plan? You've said, I've read before that that your coworkers thought all this talk of Louise, all the things Louise was saying, it all sounded a bit woo woo. When did you start drinking the Kool-Aid?
I just think, like I always say, I got it from osmosis, from being around everybody all the time.
Right.
So I never sat down and said, now I believe this. It was really like my friends, or I'd be talking with somebody and I'd be telling them things and go, wow, where did I get that from?
Right.
So I just got it a little at a time of the beliefs and ideas that we share here.
Right.
And I guess just seeing it work over and over and over again. We do the I Can Do It events, which are big, thousands of people. Right. And you get to see all the people that come up to the authors and say, your book changed my life, your book changed my life. over and over, and then after you hear that enough, you start believing that it helps.
Right. When did you transition from accountant to sort of
Well, it happened
taking
real
over?
quickly. So when I started, we had a whole bunch of people at A House. A year after I started, we ended up having to lay off like 30 people. And
Right.
so at that point, Louise, and I was going to leave the company at that time too. And Louise said, "Oh, will you stay? And would you like to run the company?" I said, "Look, I don't really know anything about book publishing, but I'll stay for a little while." After 2 years, basically, I ran the business part, and Louise was more involved back then. So,
Right.
and but she was busy teaching and doing workshops and being Louise, which is a full-time job,
Right. Yeah, I can
in
imagine.
addition to Hay House. And that, so really I've been, for 25 years basically, I've been in charge of the company. But like I said, back in those days it was real small, so everyone did a lot of different things. You have your own magazine.
Right. You do.
And so you
yeah,
do all the
exactly.
things you have to do. Like I used to load the trucks and duplicate the tapes and
Right. Right.
like all that kind of stuff.
Clearly, your path has not been linear here.
Right. Well, yeah. And nothing was, like I said, it wasn't planned out either. Like I never thought I would be sitting here one day with, this big company with offices all over the world and like just a whole different life than I ever really kind of knew. I knew I'd always be good at business and successful, but I never knew like how or this successful.
You really are practicing what you preach, and advancing and nurturing, the careers of other people. And I think in the space of forget about just publishing. As a CEO, I don't know anyone in this arena that is doing what you're doing. One thing, more than just activating your talent, you are really out there activating thousands, hundreds, thousands of people globally. And it's not necessarily in publishing, but this is by virtue of, obviously they're the books, but by virtue of this digital content.
Yeah. You can reach a lot of people all over
Right.
the world for sure, and that's one of the big areas that we're moving into is the online classes and the online learning. Like we've done 100 online classes that were all audio,
Right.
and now we're moving into doing them in all video, and people love it, like because so many people want to learn from the Hay House authors, but the authors can't go to every town, every
Right.
city, and every country.
I feel like every time I get a newsletter from you or I see something, I feel like I can see the wheels turning. I can feel it. It feels like you're excited about it.
Yeah.
There was a quote that I came across before when I was prepping, and it says, leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. And it made me think of you, because that's really what you're doing. You're leading this company, but you're not trying to create followers, you're trying to create other leaders.
Yeah. Well, my favorite part of the company is helping the authors reach more people and discovering the authors that have potential to reach people and kind of the potential in themselves that they don't even know yet.
Right. I think it's just getting over that hurdle sometimes of seeing things differently, right?
Yeah.
Being open to possibility. And I still think it's amazing because you didn't have a blueprint and you didn't have footsteps to
But
follow
that's
in.
probably the reason,
Right,
because a lot of the people, a lot of our authors too, like they're the first ones that think of this idea, even though the messages are kind of the same, but they're the first ones to implement it in their way.
Right.
And those are the people that usually end up most successful.
Right.
It's like Louise. It's not like she invented affirmations or your thoughts can create your life, but she came up with a way to tell people about it that they could apply it, and that's basically what we're doing at Hay House, or that we've done, is find more ways for people to apply it. Like Hay House Radio was, everyone thought we were crazy when we started Hay House Radio, and they're like, what are they doing? They're a publishing company. And it was before internet radio was popular.
Right.
Now there's millions of radio stations. But when we started, it was brand new, and it's been 10 years. And that kind of idea too, it took a long, it was just some crazy thing we tried that ended up helping,
I don't want to get you into any trouble with your talent, but have you had personal influences who may have just sort of activated that philosophy of thinking out of the box?
The main two people that I've spent the most time with are Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer I talk to every day pretty much, and so like
Tell him I said hi.
some of the conversations he's like my father, some he's like my mentor, some he's like my friend, and some he's like my kid, you know?
It depends on the day.
It depends
right?
on where
the
we're
day
at.
and the biorhythms,
Like,
exactly.
and so that's, I mean, he's probably the biggest influence. When I was working with Louise and she was doing speech in Italy, and at that time there was still smoking sections in airplanes.
Yeah, which was here's smoking, here's not smoking.
And so she was in first class and I was in the middle seat on the last row in the smoking section of Alitalia airline. And when I got back from that trip and I told Wayne like all about it, he goes, "I'm going to put you in millionaires training." And he goes, "The first thing we're going to do is you're not sitting in this middle seat of smoking section." So that's literally, from then on, he was like basically my personal coach.
Did you read self-help books before you?
No, zero. I didn't even know what self-help was. My cousins live in Fairfield, Iowa, and that's where the Maharishi has his Maharishi University. And we always used to make fun of all those people like walking around the street. We called them ruse because you could tell which ones they were because for gurus.
Right.
And Louise went there. I probably made fun of Louise walking around the streets of Fairfield. So,
little did you know where you're going to land, right?
Exactly. When I started at Hay House, to be honest, there wasn't self-help. There wasn't even a self-help section in a bookstore.
Right.
Like, that's the part that people don't understand, because now when you walk into Barnes & Noble, one of the biggest sections is self-improvement, and it's grown like as Hay House has grown.
Yeah, Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer were really on the cutting edge of that and ahead of their time.
Yeah, Bernie Siegel, like those kind of people were way before anyone knew what self-help was. Like, they call it alternative health was one part, and that's where they put Louise and Bernie. And then psychology was like Wayne Dyer, and then they had all the other stuff that they didn't know what to do with. They put in a cult in the back corner.
Right, of course. Why do you think Louise succeeded?
It's just because she helped people. That's why everyone succeeds, is that everyone in this business is, if your message can go out and help other people, then you become successful. And it doesn't happen like the first day you write the book or the first person you talk to.
Right.
A good example is there's a picture right there of that's a float from a thing called Gay Pride in West Hollywood, and that's the Louise Hay float from this group that she started. It was called the Hay Ride, to help people who had AIDS.
Right.
And so she started the whole group, like some friends of hers said, you know, my friends have AIDS and they don't know what to do. And she said, well, bring them to my house and we'll work with them, you know, and try to get a positive attitude. And she got 2 people there, and then the next week there was like 6 people, the next week 20 people. It got too big for her living room, and they had 100 people, 200, and eventually they were getting 1,000 people every single week.
Wow.
And this is at a time when the president of the United States wouldn't say the word AIDS. So there were no movie stars, nothing.
Right.
So
it's an authentic message.
Right, and it's just like she just wanted to help people. So to this day, literally she got like, for her Hay Foundation, she got a check from someone who just passed away, who was 80 years old and went to the Hay Rides and said, thank you so much because you helped my partner, and he lived like 20 more years, all because of you.
I think you downplay your role in this because I think you're a really big thinker. And I also think that your superpower is activating the superpower in others.
Yeah, that is my superpower. That's my best thing.
We've decided to build this issue around you. It's dedicated to the business soul. And again, going back to something you said a few minutes ago, which is really connecting purpose and passion and activating sort of a mission to serve. And that it really is this successful equation.
Yeah. I think the mistake people make is they either do all service and don't think about the money, or
Right.
they do all money and don't think about the service.
Right.
And I think you need to have both, because
Right.
if you don't, if you all you do is serve and don't make money, your business is going to be over real fast, and then you're going to be doing something you hate instead of
Right. So there's
doing
that sweet
that.
spot. Exactly.
And if you do all business, like there's tons of people in business that do all business, but to me it doesn't seem that fun.
What do you say to your children? How do you what kind of conversations are you having with your children about activating their passions in life?
Well, we just tell them that they can do whatever they want. I would say that for me, I didn't, like, my mom didn't say necessarily that you have to do this, this, and this, and this,
Right.
but it's just growing up in a place where there's not that many successful people. It's different. Like for my kids, like they're surrounded by a lot of successful people,
Right.
and so they want, whatever success means to them, they can see it.
I love that these generations are having these conversations. This is, like you say, this isn't really news to them, which is a really amazing thing.
That's what I tell them too. Like, pick something that you like to do, and then you don't need to retire.
Right. Did accounting light you up?
No. Basically, the reason I chose it is it had some of the most in the help wanted section of the newspaper, and I had accounting in high school, and it was easy, so I picked that. That's basically how I did it.
Little did you know that office down the hall from Louise Hay was going to change everything.
Exactly.
I do want to just give this quick list of tangible accomplishments here at Hay House since you've come on board. You've created conferences, you've created workshops, you've created Hay House Radio, as we spoke about. You've created online products, affiliate programs, social initiatives that you've raised over $100 million for public TV, worldwide offices, the Hay House World Summit, which reached over 204 countries and territories. You sold over 60 million books in the U.S. alone in a year.
No, not in 1 year. So over 60 million since we started. So 1 in 5 people in the United States have bought our books. Now it's like 65 or 70 million, yeah.
So you're very, very low key about this, but I mean, that's quite a list. Can we say wow?
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty. That's
good.
wow. I mean, that's a wow list. What lights you up now?
Well, the online courses is what I like now the most.
Right.
Just because it's something new, different, and we can bring all this stuff to so many more people and it's a way more affordable, easier to reach a lot of people that haven't had access.
Right.
And it can be available all the time.
I was laughing. I was thinking you're sort of like the great and powerful Oz the man behind the curtain, and now you're taking a much more visible stance, and you're taking the stage, and you were in the videos for the workshop.
Yeah.
What was the decision to come forward and be more of a visible presence?
Well, that was another like kind of by accident thing too. Cheryl Richardson called me up and said that she was going to want to do a workshop, and I said that, well, if you want me to, I'll like tell them about the writing or whatever part of it. And she goes, well, how about if you do the whole thing with me? And like I said, okay, before I realized what I was saying. No one could even believe I was doing. And tons of people were in the back like watching, my family and all the Hay House employees, just to see that it was true. I would stand up there and do it. And then now I've been doing it for 6 years. It's a lot easier.
It's this wonderful juxtaposition of you're really giving practical tactical strategies and the business side of things, because it's not all about woo-woo and inspiration. You've got to do the work, you've got to know the facts, you've got to know. It was really helpful attending the writers' workshop to find out, put the brakes on the book proposal, and just reiterating, going back and building that platform is where things evolve.
Yeah.
And it may take a different direction, but those are very, very helpful words of wisdom.
Thank you. Yep, that's that's the point of it. And then when I first did it, basically I gave all the facts, and then everyone wanted to kill themselves, and now I give some facts and some stories, facts and some stories. And I've gotten a lot better at it, but the information has always been good. It's just how you present it is the key difference.
You had mentioned that you have experienced your own personal failures, and you really believe in getting out there and just like re-educating and taking classes and continuing to keep that ball in motion. Do you have any failures that I say quote unquote failures because it's just a sort of detour on the path, but
well, there's lots and lots of books and things we've done that haven't worked out. And in the publishing world, if you get 10% right, you're a genius. If you get 1% right, you're a genius, literally. The biggest probably change for Hay House was my goal to grow and like lost track of kind of everything else at a certain point for a few years. And then with the whole recession that happened, it affected us because Borders, our second biggest customer, went out of business.
Right.
And so we were in the top 10 creditors, so it made a big impact.
Oh, wow.
But it was like a good blessing because it let me personally just really look at what I really wanted, and was it that much better being this much bigger, or should I concentrate on what I like to do instead of the size of the company.
And then look what you ended up creating with all this digital.
Yeah, it's been
better.
It's
just another detour in the path.
That was the best thing. Like now I'm in this mastermind group with like 35 entrepreneurs, and they're all like young and aggressive, and I'm like, can't wait to go make a difference. It's just so interesting, like being there, because they're all like me 20 years ago.
Right. It's great. It's really exciting.
It's fun and it's exciting, but they don't understand like all the things they don't know, and they don't want to hear about it either.
Right. I know. Well, you're very good at telling people that, though, which is awesome.
I tell them.
Going back to what you said about Borders and the recession, that kind of a thing, which might seem like a gut punch at the time. Really, at the end of the day, if there's a recession, we need more self-help books.
Yeah.
We just have to figure out different ways to get it out there.
Yeah, so, well, it's interesting you say that, because that was the case for Hay House. For 20 years in a row, we grew every single year.
Right.
So there was lots of recessions in there.
Right.
And that's what we always used to say, but we got big enough that the recession affected us.
I just wanted to talk a little bit just about your own self-care. How do you balance all of this? How do you balance your self-care, your family life, and just keeping it all, what's your touchdown?
One great thing about Hay House is we work 4 days a week. So we work Monday through Thursday, and I take Friday off, and everyone else does, so.
Do you really take Friday off?
I really take it off. I mean, I might do a few emails and stuff, but I don't come here, which makes a big difference.
Right.
And I usually play golf. Friday's like our date night for me and my wife.
Good
so
for
we go
you.
to the movies and all that. And we've done that forever, for 15, 16 years. So.
And you stick to it.
Yeah. Part of the whole thing of the change and the recession and all that, like I'm traveling less, and we have a house in Idaho that we go to for a month in the summer. And
does Chris Carr have you drinking green juices?
I drink green juices, yeah. I even have a picture of me and her drinking green juices.
That's right, I think I saw one. I don't know, I thought I saw you holding one. I just wanted to make sure you're drinking it. What now? What's next? What's your vision for the future?
One of the things that we're doing that's different is we're starting to like invest in other companies that are in the same area. So like we've invested in a skincare company called Anne Marie Gianni.
I use her products.
Oh, do you?
Love her products. Love her products.
And then we have another venture with Christiane Northrup, Amada it's called, and it's like a supplement for women with menopause. And then they just came out with a men's product called Thor, and then we have another company in the UK called Chuckling Goat, and they use all goat milk products. They do a kefir for your probiotics and and then skin stuff using goat products, and they're like booming. And we're just starting a thing there for natural pet care using the goat milk and goat kefir stuff, because it's really good for the skin. And
So you've got your tentacles out there.
Yeah.
It's great because it links all the aspects of our lives. It's not just about what we're reading, it's what we're ingesting and what we're doing.
Yeah. And so we're just starting to like let all of our big Hay House audience know about these other things.
Right.
So like, I don't know if you've heard of Thrive Market.
I just read your newsletter, which sounds really exciting.
Yeah, you should, if you eat healthy foods like that, you want to go there, you'll save a lot of money.
Right.
They're booming. Like, they started in November, and last month they did 2 million in sales.
Right. So Thrive is an online organic market. You can get all various, which is great for people that live in areas that they don't have a Whole Foods or they don't have.
Yeah, but lots of people are involved, like Deepak Chopra, Jillian Michaels, Tony Robbins. But it's like booming. People love it.
And it comes right to your house.
Comes right to your house.
That's awesome. Do you have a book in you, Reid?
I don't have any books. I don't want to write any books.
No books in you?
Nope. Everyone wants me to, but I think I'm passing on the book publishing. I'll just teach other people how to do it.
So finally, the last question I want to just ask you is, how do you want to be remembered? How would you finish this sentence? He was ...
Yeah, I think I'd like to be remembered just helping lots of people achieve what they want. Like, and when I say that, I mean more the authors than even the people that they serve.
Right.
Like, because I know if I help enough of the authors reach their goal, they're going to help lots and lots of other people. Like you say, the superpower of helping other people realize their superpower, that's my favorite thing.
Right. Rock on. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for sitting down with us today. You are awesome, and I definitely think you're a very humble man, and you are activating superpowers. So thank you.
Thank you.